Hi, Gil from Testing Gil here. Today we're going to talk about charters and their place within exploratory testing. Now, I've done already a video about exploration and exploratory testing. You can watch it here. I've explained why exploration is important and why we need to do more of that. Next, I've done a video about sessions and session-based testing, which again, you can look right here. And the video talks about how we should cut down our longer testing sessions into smaller ones, which should be more focused and more attuned to the human running them. The next step is to pick what goes into these sessions. And for that, we need to think about our regular planning methods. We usually think about our test scenarios as a matrix between features and test cases. For example, in our Bigger, Better Bookstore application, we have a feature about exporting book details. And we can have different scenarios we'd like to test around this feature, like exporting an existing book, a non-existing book, an admin exporting book details versus a regular user, which results in different sets of data exported, and other cases as well. Now, these things can take at least a few hours to test, and we've already talked about cutting down sessions to shorter, more manageable pieces. The thing is if we continue to do our planning the way we're used to, is we're going to specify everything, which is deviating away from exploration. Exploration, by its nature, is not knowing where you're going to go next. We may know the direction, we usually know the starting point, but we understand that we'll see things on the way, get off-road, and explore. So we need two things. First, we need a replacement for the prescribed script. Next, we need to decide what happens when we go off-road. We can spend time going down the rabbit hole of the different options of exporting data, like checking the valid JSON schema, checking different fields, trying to import the result into an older version of the application. But we should have been more focused on who can export what. We lost our way. That can happen, probably. Well, a lot. What we need is a lightweight tool. One that can help us focus on the topics without going too much into the details. It also needs to be flexible. We may find something during our exploration session that may seem more important than what we planned for this session. It may require two more completely full sessions of investigation, just like JSON schema. Enter charters. Charters are basically like starting points. With a few words, 2 sentences tops. They're not too specific, obviously, but we need to be able to differentiate between different charters because they cover different topics. When we look at the list of charters, we should get a feeling about our coverage. We're covering the important stuff or not. Charters and their descriptions should tell us if we're testing the right areas. Now, because we're exploring, there's not too much sense in specifying a lot, and this frees time up for the exploration itself rather than the planning. Charters are very cheap in terms of creating them. We can come up with a few more ideas and add them to the charter list. As we move forward, when we come up with other charters, it's easy to create them as well. They'll be a bit more specific maybe, but again, not too much effort. Also, what's cool about it is that because they're cheap, they're easy to be thrown away if we discover that we need to invest more time in other, more important charters. The investment in creating the charters is not big. Here's the Google homepage. Which charters can we think of? Well, the most important feature here is the search itself, which is big and requires a lot of breakdown, and we won't do it today. But there are things on the page that we can test, and some are related to the search, some are not. There are the UI elements, language support, the About box, and the voice interface. There's more than that, of course, but let's focus on those. Now, these are charters. I still don't know how big they are. I have an idea that testing the About box is a lot less complex. It's going to be shorter than checking the voice interface. But I have a starting point. Maybe it's enough to say that I'm going to need one session to cover the About screen, the terms and conditions, and maybe the privacy thing, and voice interaction is going to be like 3 sessions. Now, if you press me, I'll tell you what I'd like to learn about the voice interaction. For example, interaction with different languages. What happens when the microphone is not working? What happens in a noisy environment? I can come up with these kind of ideas or charters, or I can start where I was before and go from there. The cool thing is when I have a list, I can decide what to go on first. A team can decide how to do their own prioritization based on the charter list. Then, after doing a session or two, the team can reconvene, discuss their findings, and decide what to do next. It could be like picking something else from the charter board, or creating new charters for things we found on the way. Maybe it would be picking existing charters and investigating them more deeply. Once you've selected a charter, see if you can just start testing, or you need some preparation in order to do that. For example, having datasets prepared, or having an authenticated user in the system. It's okay to do exploration before the exploration. Just remember to focus on the important stuff. Also, if you're in the middle of the session and everything looks okay and everything's working, it's okay to cut down the testing and saying everything's okay, complete the session, and move on to another one. Exploration may seem like shooting from the hip. No planning, just doing and seeing what happens. But with tools like sessions and charters, exploration becomes more manageable and focused. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and watch other videos on this channel. And in the comments, tell me if you used charters before, and if you did, how deep did you drill down into the details? Until next time, bye-bye.